I'm Reverend Nina Rowe, founder of AngelsTeach.com, and welcome to AngelsTeach TV and the episode of Weekly Messages from Your Angels for August 23rd through 29th. Last week we were talking about taking care of that masculine side of ourselves, and we did our reading a little bit differently, but we were reminded that it's so important to stay focused on the positive things in life and to remember that we are all working towards a very wonderful outcome. And it's just a matter of moving through that together and in faith. So this week, as I was tuning in to record this video, I was guided by my angels. I'm laughing because they said, pay attention to your clairaudient sense. The clairaudient sense is that hearing sense, and it's what you hear, the loving messages, that loving voice within you. It's also the sounds that you hear in the world all around you. And I'm giggling a little bit to myself because I'm hearing my cat clawing and trying to climb up. I'm not exactly sure where she went, but I could hear that clawing. So as I do the reading this week, I'm going to be paying particular attention to my clairaudient sense. We have all kinds of ways that can express itself through music, through things that other people say to us, through traffic going by. A truck just emphasized that. I don't know if you can hear that. But lots of different ways that the clairaudient sense works. And sometimes I find that people don't necessarily pay attention to the clairaudient sense that comes from the regular mundane world that we have. But it does speak very much through that venue as well as through the more metaphysical means. So this week's reading is from the Angels, Gods, and Goddesses deck by Tony Carmen Salerno. And I am being guided this week to pull a 3-card spread, so we'll go back, at least for this week, to our more traditional format. The angels do like to change things up, so give us a little variety, have a little fun. And our first card is the Angel of Guidance. And I'm noticing it's really quiet as I pull this card. Second card is the Angel of Healing. And the third card is the Angel of Addiction Healing. First thing I'm noticing is that it was really kind of uncharacteristically quiet. We live on a busy road and the doors are all open because it's a beautiful day. And it was uncharacteristically quiet when I pulled the cards, especially starting with the Angel of Guidance. So the first message that hits me over the head with this spread is that it's so important to allow that quiet, to allow that stillness in our lives. We lead such busy paces of life. We are always running here and there and everywhere, and when we're not, we will often busy ourselves with music or with television or with something that supplies some level of noise. And it's very important to allow that quiet. A couple of weeks ago, my husband and I were in Maine with my father and stepmother, and she has a cabin in the woods on about 800 acres up there, and it is so quiet and so beautiful. And it was such a treat to be surrounded by such quiet and such stillness. And in fact, when we stopped for lunch on our way back in Portland, and we were in the real world, so to speak, both Peter and I were a little bit in a state of shock, even though we'd only been out of civilization for several nights, but not that long. It took us a little while to get acclimated back to the noise, back to the pace of life. So as you can, as the summer starts to draw to a close, make sure that you're taking time for that quiet, for that stillness, because that's how your guidance is going to be strongest. And I would say that it's interesting, the message for this week is really coming in more as a group as opposed to card. So I will be referring to the cards as they apply, but it feels like the cards have really set the structure, set the stage, are the vessel for the message this week. The next thing I'm noticing, as I'm sure you may have picked up, is that all 3 cards are angels. And that is statistically less probable if you were to just look at it that way scientifically, because it is the Angels, Gods, and Goddesses deck. So there was a very high likelihood that we would choose either a goddess or a god, and we didn't. So that tells me that this week is a lot about remembering to work with our angels. I can't tell you how many people, even some of the people that I work with very regularly in my mentorship program, will forget to ask their angels. They'll forget to consult with that higher guidance, with that source of wisdom and love. And we get into these moments, these crises, and we forget to ask for help. And this is a gentle reminder to remember to do that. And now I'm hearing total silence. And I have children here, and I have animals here, and traffic, so again, ask your angels, and you will hear their messages more clearly as you allow for that stillness. The angel of healing. What I'm seeing more than anything in this card is the love, the hearts, that we are surrounded by that love, and again that we do forget. And again, the message is coming in a little bit differently this week, and it's really more the cards speaking all together at once. So it's going back to that message to remember to ask our angels for help, but to remember that that's how we ground ourselves in love. And that's how we remember that love, that we're all marching towards that world that is full of love and that we know exists. And sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but as we call upon our angels, that's the reality that we create. So not only does it help us to work with our angels, but it reinforces that path that we're all working towards of a world of compassion and love. So it is multi-purposed, working with our angels. The last message is coming from the angel of addiction healing. Seeing a lot of blue is jumping out at me. Of course, those snakes about transformation are very powerful. We've actually had a lot of snakes on our property this summer. I haven't seen them personally, but my husband has, so it's been more of a message for him about rebirth and transformation. And I would say, actually, our daughter's boyfriend has seen them as well, so maybe it's really more, and the angels are saying yes, more associated with the rebirth of the masculine energy as well, and reminding us again, as we were reminded last week, to keep that in balance. So that blue feels very much like the ocean to me. It feels like cleansing, purification, looking at those past patterns we talked about last week, and releasing past patterns and past life healing, and the ocean representing cleansing, purification, the subconscious, and certainly can go very, very deep into our past, again, not just in this lifetime, but into past lifetimes. So really keeping that focus again this week with looking for those patterns and releasing those as the opportunity arises. So welcoming conflict that you encounter as really an invitation to look at whatever may need to be released. And I'm going to take that as a very major clairaudient message, because the cat, who is actually very coordinated, tried to jump up on top of a cupboard and then fell, which is very unlike her. So again, taking that as a major, yes, do this. Look for those past patterns, take it as an invitation to heal, and do it. Whatever it takes for you to do that. And I'm hearing that we are all set for today. And if I invite you, I'm a little bit distracted because the cat now just jumped up on Buddha. They're usually very well behaved when I'm taping, but not so much this morning, which the angels did warn me about. So I invite you to visit AngelsTeach.com. We do have a few spots left in our Angel Communication Specialist training starting up this fall. You can see all that we have to offer on AngelsTeach.com. So thank you for joining me here this week. My blessings of love, joy, and abundance to you. Be well.